Doomsday. I love that S. I had a t-shirt with that on it as a teenager. So here we are, another fabulous review, and I say fabulous not because of my reviewing skills, but because the content of the review today is something that I'm really excited about. This is the Superman Doomsday 2-pack from DC Collectibles DC Icons, and if you're around my age, you bought Superman issue number 75 off the newsstand, and this right here is probably one of the most iconic DC comic scenes in the history of its entire company. And it's been immortalized right now in action figure form. Jeez, I got this for Christmas and I can't wait to open it. So now, let's just open it. We slide this piece off, just like this here. And we just slide it. Okay, let's try that again. Now it won't go back on. We just slide this piece off right here, like that, and it just comes off. And then here's the entire window box right here. All right, just gonna pop it out, and oh, paper came out. I'll read that after. We're gonna carefully take it out, not like usual, carefully, because I don't want to damage it, and I want what's behind here. There's gonna be a cool diorama back there. Not to mention I have this really cool display idea involving some of the items that came in the black bag issue of Superman number 75. So this background needs to be intact. Oh, and these fell out of the package too as soon as I opened it. But damn. Oh, these are directly from the comic book as well. These are the sounds that Superman and Doomsday's faces made as they were punching each other. So you pull it out, and there's that diorama that I was talking about, and it'll open up and be really cool looking. And then we get all this stuff. So let's have a quick look at all of it. So for starters, in the package, you get this here Superman Deadhead. That's after he's deceased and laying there in Lois's arms. You get this tattered Superman cape, clearly made to fit on one of Doomsday's bone claws. You get these two badass extra Doomsday bone claw fists. These are pretty rad. And you can see here how the cape actually will fit on one of those claws. Nice touch. We get this here plethora of different shaped and sized rocks and bits of building from the battle in the streets of Metropolis. That's kind of a neat little additive there. What do you think? We get this Diorama Stand, and it is pretty darn awesome. Look at that. All these little boulders that have peg holes in them, they'll stick here. Hold on a second, I'll show you. You just take the peg, stick it in like that, and then you can put the boulders wherever you want them to be for your diorama. We got this punch blast that clearly goes on Superman's fist. We got this cool little face additive that attaches to Superman's face, this badass heat vision blast from when he blasts Doomsday in the face with his heat vision during the battle. We've got angry, hairy-chested, fired-up Superman here, clearly close to the very end of his battle with Doomsday. The blood on his shoulder, the rips of his costume, straight out of the comic book, but we'll have a closer look at him in just a second. And then we have, arguably, the main bit of the 2-pack, which is Doomsday, and I think also, arguably, the best Doomsday figure ever made. And I'm going to make my case for this very briefly in this video as well. And I think, honestly, this is probably why most of us bought this. It wasn't for the bloodied up Superman so much as it was for this Doomsday figure. He's really cool. Now let's take a closer look at both figures. Fired up Supes looks amazing. The coloring of the flesh, the details, the blue they've used, the red. This is darn near perfect. Now coming in closer and having a look at Soupy here, we can tell that they put a lot of effort into trying to capture what Superman looked like in issue number 75 of Superman comics, because every detail is there and not one is missed. Whether it's the rip in the leg with the blood on his pants there, or the shredded tunic that goes over the one shoulder with the S kind of tattered right there, the blood on the shoulder from where Doomsday's bone fragment sticking out of his chin cut his shoulder. I mean, this is as accurate as it gets. The hairy-chested Superman, again, very accurate to the comic book. The 3 claw scratches on the side of his face. Everything here just looks so amazing. They got it so right with this Superman figure. Of course, he can't be your main Superman figure. However, if you're going to make a display on Superman 75, this is perfect. I would never want anything else. Articulation for Superman is going to be as follows. Head is on a ball joint, can't look up very far, can look down a whole lot, like towards a grave where he's going to be at the end of this fight. And then the shoulders, they go up about that. Whoops, popped it off. Well, guys, be careful not to pull his arm off at the bicep. That's the thing that can happen. They can spin around 360 degrees, and then the shoulders themselves are on that shoulder swivel, and they can go around. Take that, Doomsday. You got double jointed elbows on both arms, and you got the wrists, which are on a swivel / hinge, and you got this ab crunch here that, what is it? Okay, well, this one clearly does, a fair bit. This one here, okay, usual DC icons. This one doesn't really do a lot. They probably could have done without adding this one in. I think I say that a lot with the icons. Then his groin, it goes down, right? It's got the extendy up and down, as well as it's on a ball. So that's what you get with his groin. Knees are double hinged for maximum posability. It does not spin at the waist, but I can do without that. And then you've got your ankle, which has a lot of articulation, and it's also, it rocks. So this Superman has a ton of posability, and it's one of the reasons why the Icons line was so good, because they put so much into making these so posable. Here he is with the heat vision blast attached to his face. It really just clips on like this. So easy. Oops. I mean, take two. I may have had that on upside down. Let's try that again. Here he is with the heat vision blast, and it really just attaches to his face like that. Easy peasy. Make sure you don't have it on upside down, otherwise it'll just fall off and you'll look like a dum-dum. Then we have this here blasty thing from him punching Doomsday, hitting him with all of his super might, and it just fits on the end of his fist like that, like a little hat. And, it's used for emphasizing how hard he's punching Doomsday in the gob. Overall, a very impressive figure, and it hits me right in the 1992 feels. Thanks, DC Icons. Oh yeah, I forgot to show you what it looks like when you put on the deceased head, the sleeping head, or both, sleeping or dead. Probably looks like this, except for with less blood when he's sleeping. And now on to Doomsday, arguably the reason why a lot of us bought this DC Icons 2-pack, because this badass Doomsday figure, in my opinion, trumps every single Doomsday action figure that's came before him. This guy is one great, big, massive powerhouse of 6-inch scale Doomsday authority. This thing is beautiful. Bringing him on in for a closer look, you can see that face sculpt is stellar. It just looks so good. You got the flowing Doomsday hair behind him. You got the bone spurs on his chin and the side of his face and his teeth and covering his eyes. You got the rippling muscles, and you got the bone spur right there in his chest, and the ones coming out of his shoulder, and the elbow spurs, the ones on his knuckles. Got his muscles. This is just such an imposing Icons figure. He's so girthy. He's so thick. He's so Doomsday looking. You got his green bicycle shorts and the bicycle shorts, and you got his knee bone spurs right here. The detail, every detail is captured. His giant green feet. Man, look at each rippling muscle. DC Icons has done an amazing job capturing the look of Doomsday. I love this figure so much. Articulation and range of motion for this Doomsday figure is as follows. The head's on a ball joint, can't look up very far because the head gets in the way, can look down a little bit, but there's really not a whole lot there for articulation for Doomsday's head. He's got an ab crunch right there. Well, that's his under his ribs. He's got an ab crunch right here. There we go. It was tight. It was stuck, but we got it moving. So that's what he's got for a range of motion. For such a big guy, I mean, I'm happy with that. I'm okay with that. I'll be able to pose him in some pretty cool poses with that range of motion like that. Then you've also got the shoulders, which again, swivel hinge as usual, 360. You got your bicep swivel. That's standard for DC Icons. The elbows here, so they don't break the lines here, they're not actually hinged in the same way you would see it. They're it's sort of a hidden hinge. And, okay, articulation in the elbow is not, admittedly, where this, off comes the hand. Anyway, yeah, elbow articulation is not exactly a place where this figure shines. There's not a whole lot there in articulation for the elbow, because the body kind of gets in the way. That's really all you're going to get. And then you got your wrist. It's on a swivel hinge. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So that's what you get for the wrists. And then you got your groin, which most DC icons now have this kind of articulation, or had, because I think they've actually finished the line with this 2-pack. Then you got articulation up here, halfway up the bicycle shorts. And then you've got articulation here at the knee. Double jointed knee on a gigantic beefy figure. Not a bad choice, I might say. And you got your ankle articulation. About that far and about that far. And is it a rocker? Is it a... it might be, but it's not a lot there. I think it's supposed to be. But there's just not a lot there for it. When you yoink off his old hands and you put on the punchy fists, that's what you get. Man, he just looks so intimidating. This is my favorite DC icons of all time. Not only my favorite Doomsday, but my favorite DC icons. Okay, so just for size and scale comparison, I've got all of the Doomsday figures that I own in one place. And going from the right, we have the Infinite Crisis Doomsday figure, DC Superheroes Doomsday, DC Direct Doomsday, the current Doomsday that we're reviewing from the DC Icons line, and the DC Universe Classics Doomsday, the really, really big one. Now, I really like this Doomsday figure, but I feel like he's just too big to be in scale with Superman issue number 75. I know he got really big over the years, but this is not Superman 75 scale Doomsday as far as I'm concerned, to go with the DC Universe Classics. I really, really do like this Doomsday figure and feel like he goes really well with the DC Universe Classics as well, but was a little bit too small when he stood next to the Superman figure from the same wave. The DC Superheroes Doomsday figure, for as good as it was for the time, it falls horribly short in a lot of ways. Not terrible, not great, and then, you know, this one here doesn't look accurate to the comics really at all, but he's a cute little feller. He's like a pint-sized Doomsday. Like, Dad, can I kill Superman now? No, shut up, sit down. Okay. And here we have, standing side by side for size comparison, Superman and Doomsday. And I feel like this is pretty accurate for how big Doomsday would have been in comparison to Superman in the comic books. This seems accurate to me. You know, remembering Superman and Doomsday going toe-to-toe, this seems about right for size and scale comparison. Doomsday really was about that much taller than Superman in the issue of Superman number 75, and throughout the story of the death of Superman. I really feel like if you're a Superman fan and you got that love for Superman and that story of the death and return of Superman, this is going to be an essential piece that you want to pick up because it's just so good in hand. Whatever you're seeing here doesn't do it any justice. And here we have the inside of the box, that little backdrop, the diorama of the front of the Daily Planet here with the rubble down here and stuff. And you can see it looks really, really good. If you're into action figure photography, this is like perfect. It's given right to you. All you need to do is take your pictures in front of it. This to me is a great way for the Icons line to go out. Yes, I would have been happy to get a lot more characters. I was the most sad about not getting the Blue Beetle Booster Gold Buddy 2-pack, but if they're going to go out, this is a great way to go out. Arguably DC Comics' most memorable, biggest moment in the history of their publishing company is when Superman and Doomsday fought, and Doomsday killed Superman. I mean, simultaneously, Superman killed Doomsday too, but Superman died in canon. This wasn't just some silly little story. This was huge. And now I can recreate it right here in action figure form, and I couldn't be happier. I give this full marks 10 out of 10. If you're a Superman fan, don't hesitate. Go out and buy it now because it's only going to go up in price. And that's it for the video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. I really do appreciate you taking the time to do so. If you've enjoyed it or found it educational, helpful, insightful, funny at all, please leave a like on it. Leave any comments you have down in the comments section below. I love to hear from you. If you think you'd like to see more of my sort of content show up in your inbox, well, don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button and ding the bell. And I'll see you with the next video, everybody. Thank you, super friends, so much for watching. Have a great day. Take care.